Welcome back to my channel. Today I will show you a movie titled John Wick Chapter 4. Watch out and enjoy the movie. At the beginning of the film, we see John Wick, who was preparing to fight. Then a man comes to him, who was a very good friend of John. He had brought a gun and bulletproof suit for him. And he also tells John that you will have to make good preparations, because you have to compete with the High Table. The High Table was actually a very big mafia, for whom John used to work. But since John stopped working with them, the people of the High Table had become John's enemies. John was doing all this preparation for them. After this, we are shown the scene of the desert. John, riding a horse, was shooting the guards of the king here. He was shooting them badly while driving them away. They were running away from him, but John kills them all. After that, he goes to their king. The king says to him, "I know, John, your intentions are not right. You want to finish the High Table. But keep one thing in mind, that after finishing all this, your destruction will begin. And if you want to kill me, then think that if I die, others will come, but this game will continue." John says to him, "I just asked for my freedom." The king replies to him that if you think that you will get freedom by killing me, then you are wrong. You will only get death. But John does not listen to that king, and shoots him on his head and kills him. After this, the scene shifts to New York, where we see a hotel. A man comes to the manager of the hotel, whose one finger was cut. That man had brought a special message from the High Table. Now the manager takes him to his master, whose name was Winston. That man keeps a sand clock in front of Winston and says that after the death of our king, everything will belong to our boss Marquis. He wants to meet you soon. Now Winston takes his manager and goes to a very big building to meet Marquis. Here Marquis had called Winston because a long time ago he had asked John to kill him. He asks Winston, "I had asked you to kill John, so how is he still alive?" Winston says, "I don't know, but I had killed him." Marquis says, "Yes, he is still alive because he has killed our king, and he is behind the people of our High Table. You have cheated us, Winston. And you will definitely be punished for this." Saying this, as soon as the time is over in that watch, which Marquis had sent by his man in the hotel, there is a big blast in the hotel. Winston's entire hotel was destroyed. Marquis' anger had not cooled down yet. He also shoots Winston's manager and kills him. In the next story, we see a girl who was playing the violin. Her dad was also sitting next to her, whose name was Kane. His eyes were damaged. He could not see anything properly. Kane also gets a message to meet Marquis, because he also used to work for the High Table. When he goes to meet Marquis, he says to him, "I know that you are our best killer who can kill anyone cleverly." Hearing all this, Kane says, "Yes, I know, but I have left that job long ago." Marquis says, "Think about it, if you want to save your daughter's life, then you will have to do one thing for us. You have to kill a person." And now he shows Kane the name of the man who was none other than John. Here we also find out that once, John and Kane used to be very good friends. Anyway, Kane agreed to what he said, because he had to save his daughter's life. The scene goes to a hotel from here. The special thing about this hotel was that no person living here could fight. And neither could any enemy attack any of his enemies. That is, robbery, murder, theft, bloodshed, everything was forbidden in this hotel. The hotel owner's daughter was telling him all the details. That's when John comes to them. The owner's daughter says, "Dad, the mafia people are looking for him. And they follow him. They can come here too." But the hotel owner says, "No, he is my friend. And it is my duty to protect him. I will definitely save him from those goons." Then some of Marquis' people come to the hotel, who asks the owner, "We have heard that John has taken shelter in your hotel. If he is here, then hand him over to us." But the hotel owner says, "No, he is not here. And if you want to search for him, you can." But those people had come here with all the preparations. Marquis' men take out their weapons and attack the hotel owner. That's when the hotel owner had also called his companions. There is a great fight here. The people of the hotel owner's team were fighting them very bravely. Some of them were swordsmen, some of them were archers. Someone was an expert in bullet target. The owner's daughter also fights with them. There was a very dangerous fight between all of them. Meanwhile, John also comes there. A small pencil in his hand was also a weapon. He came and killed all the goons of Marquis with his gun. When Marquis' man sees that he is going to lose, he also calls Kane there to help him. Kane had also come to the hotel, who was blind with his eyes. But he had a lot of weapons to fight, which were made by him. Like he had a stick. When anyone came to him, it would vibrate. That's when John comes here. Cain knew about him immediately. He was going to kill him. Before that, Cain would kill John. Then a greedy man comes who was behind John, because Marquis had put a very big reward on John to kill him. That man saves him from Cain. But if he wanted, he could have killed him himself. Because he needed money. But that greedy man does not do that. He was waiting that whenever the reward will increase, he will kill John. There in the hotel, when the hotel owner and his daughter were running away from their goons, then Cain stops them. The hotel owner says, "How did you forget? There was a time when you, me, and John were very good friends. How can you be after my and John's life?" To which he replies, "Please forgive me. But I have to do this. Because my daughter's life is in danger." Saying this, he kills him. The hotel owner's daughter ran away from here. And reaches a train. In which John was also there. From here, they became friends. Again we see Winston, who was looking at his ruined hotel, which was blown by Marquis. There John's friend also comes, whom we saw at the beginning of the story, who was getting him ready for the fight. Marquis had finished everything of them. So that's why both of them were together now. That is, they were also now enemies of Marquis. On the other side, the same man goes to meet Marquis, who wanted to kill John for money. Cain was also sitting with him. Here when Marquis' man comes to call him. Then Cain says to that man. He says, "Think well before making any deal with Marquis." Now, when that man goes to meet Marquis. Then he asks, "Who are you?" And he says, "No one. I am just nameless. I just know about John. I need 25 million to kill him. I also know where he is." Marquis was angry at such an answer. That's why he stabs that man in the hand. And says to him, "If you take your hand out of this knife, then our deal is fixed." That greedy man did not want to lose this chance. Hearing this, that man does not take the knife, but separates his hand from the knife. He was bleeding a lot from his hand. But here his deal with Marquis is fixed. There Winston goes to his manager's grave, who was killed by Marquis, and John was also there. John says, "I got to know about your hotel. I am very ashamed. Everything happened with you only because of me, because you had left me alive despite Marquis' behest, but I will finish everyone soon." Winston says, "That Marquis has a very big team. I want you to tell him to compete with him. I am sure he will definitely compete with you." Winston tells him about the universe competition, and says, "This means that the heads of two families will be face to face." But there was no family of John here. Because he had separated from his family a long time ago, but now he had to compete with Marquis. So now he goes back to his sister, where she puts a rope around John's neck and hangs him. Because she was very angry at John. She knew that the goons of the high table were behind John. And at any time they can come here. From whom his sister's family is also in danger. He tells his sister, "I have called Marquis for the competition, but before that, I will have to make a connection with my family." His sister says, "Fine, I will give you one more chance to return at one condition only. If you kill that man, the one who killed our dad, just kill him and then you can again come to our family." Now John was on the way to kill his father's killer. We see that man who was John's father's murderer, who was sitting with the cards and playing. Cain and the greedy man were with him, who had made a deal with Marquis to kill John. They both knew that John will come to this man. That's why they were waiting for him there. Now when John comes there, the man tells him who was the murderer of his father. "What's the matter? John, you have so many enemies. This man wants to kill you. Cain also wants to kill you. And I also want to kill you. Let's play a game first." Now all of them start playing cards here. In the game, the man wins, who was the murderer of John's father. John cuts that man's throat with the card of the crown. When he was running away from him by saving his life, John was behind him. While dancing in the bar, and while passing from the people, John kills all the men of the murderer. When the turn of the man comes who was the murderer of his father, he was also no less than John, and he also beats him a lot. But in the end, John pushed him from the stairs, which injures his head, and there he died. As a sign, John had kept that man's golden tooth with him so that he can show his sister that he has killed the murderer of his father. After seeing all this, his sister also included him in her family. It was their ritual of making a dragon mark on the arm. She also puts it on John's arm. On the other hand, Winston goes to Marquis and says that John has challenged you to a competition. Hearing this, he says that a family is needed for this. And I know that John has no family. Winston says no, it is not like that. His family is his sister. Marquis says okay. If John wants to compete with me, then I will definitely fight him. But from my side, I will have some other man. That day comes, the day their competition had to be decided. John and Marquis are made to sit on a very big table where there were cards in front of them. But they were not made of paper, but made of steel. Here they had to decide about the conditions of the competition. The one who will get a big number, his turn will be heavy. There were 3 conditions in this game. A place to fight, a weapon and a man. They had to start their competition the next day. The biggest rule of this game was that if someone did not reach on time, then that man will be killed at the same place where he will be present. After all this, John meets Cain in a church. They both tell their stories to each other and Cain had to save his daughter. Both were helpless. So both decide that both will definitely do their work. On the other hand, Marquis' man talks to him. He says, "You did not do well by competing with John. Because I know he will not let you win at any cost." Marquis listens to everything and says, this will happen only when he will come for the competition. What if he does not come? Saying this, he goes to one of his men and says, spread this news everywhere, that whoever kills John will be given a very big reward. There his friend comes to John who had brought a gun and a bulletproof suit for his competition. Now because this news had spread everywhere that whoever kills John will be given a very big reward. So every small goon of the city was now behind John. It was becoming difficult for John to escape from everyone. But he was sitting in the car saving his life and shooting everyone. He also kills a lot of people there. This was seen by the greedy man and Cain standing far away. John was hiding in a building saving his life. But their 2 Marquis' men come who were continuously attacking him. Now here the greedy man was also going to kill John because he also came to know that there is a very big reward for killing John's head. So when Marquis' man tries to kill that man's dog, John comes there and saves that greedy man's dog. Seeing this, that man had now become John's friend. John goes ahead after getting out of all this. The night had also passed. Now it was going to be morning. John had to climb 200 stairs and reach the mountain where his competition was going to take place. But here again goons come who were killing John. Despite being so tired, he competes with them. Here Cain and the greedy man also come to help him. These 3 were competing with each other. After seeing all this, finally John had reached for his competition. In this competition, Cain was going to fight on Marquis' side. They are given the guns first. And it was also told that they have to fire their first bullet from a distance of 30 feet. The second from 20 and the last from 10 feet. These 2 shake hands with each other and were ready for the competition. As they are called fire, they fire bullets at each other which hit the shoulders of both of them. And the second time, after firing a bullet from 20 feet, it hits the back of Cain. And the last bullet on John's shoulder again, Cain shot in John's stomach. In this way, Cain won the competition. That is, Marquis had won this competition. Then he himself comes forward and says that I will shoot John for the last time which will hit his head because I do not leave my enemy alive. Winston says that maybe you are thinking wrong. When Cain fired a bullet, John did not, there is still a bullet in his gun. After hearing this, John fires a bullet at Marquis' head which killed him. And finally, John won the competition. According to the promise, John is given his life. And the High Table also promises that they will rebuild Winston's hotel with their money. And now no one will bother John again on their behalf. With this competition was also over here. While coming downstairs, John falls from the stairs. Because he was quite injured. At the end of this story, John's grave is shown with his wife. On which it was written John Wick loving husband. Here Winston and John's friend were at his grave. In this story, we were not shown John dying. No one knew if he was alive or dead, or then Winston made his fake grave to hide his truth. And with this question, this movie story ends here. Thank you for watching. For more videos please like, share and subscribe.